We all know that David fell with Bathsheba, but is there anything we can learn from this story? Hi, my name's Andrew. This is Faith Boost, and I'm here today to boost your faith with ancient secrets that still work in the modern world. Well, you probably know the story of Bathsheba. The Bible says it's in 2 Samuel chapter 11. David is the king. He's at his most successful point. They are just winning. There's battles going on. He's reached a point now where he doesn't even need to be in battle anymore. He's just got great leaders. He's delegating. He stays at home in Jerusalem, in his house, and his military commander is out fighting and winning and about to conquer a city. And, there's a whole message there that someone once said to me years ago, success is more dangerous than failure. Because when we fail, it often humbles us and we draw near to God. There's an old saying, there's not many atheists in the foxholes or in the trenches in war, because when people are desperate, they cry out to God. And sometimes when we fail in life, or when we're just struggling, we're just starting something new and things are a bit hard, we tend to draw near to God. We tend to say, God, I need your help. But it's human nature that when things are going really well, we don't pray as much. We don't go to church as much because we just kind of feel like everything's good and we're just enjoying the ride. And I think David was in this place where he was just enjoying the ride as he was winning. And he was on his roof one night. And, a lot of people preach about this, and I don't really want to say the obvious. Like, people say, well, he shouldn't have been on the roof and he shouldn't have done. Yeah, we know there's lots of things he shouldn't have done that night, but he did a lot of things that he shouldn't have done. And I'm very hesitant to judge people like David. He was a great man, a great leader, a man after God's own heart. And thank God I've never fallen morally like that. And I've never even looked at a porn site, to be honest with you. I've kept myself really clean since I got saved when I was 17, but that doesn't mean I'm not immune to falling. I talk about people like David and even Samson with humility in my heart, like, God, I don't want to fall. I don't want to mess up, So I try and learn from these guys. I try and learn from different Christian leaders in history. And I want us to learn a couple of lessons today about David. Number one, we see when he was desperate, when he was young and he was struggling and Saul's chasing him, he would go to Samuel at different times and he would tell Samuel, and Samuel would pray with him and they'd spend time together. We see him going to Jonathan and opening up his heart and saying, Jonathan, I don't understand what's going on here. And Jonathan would encourage him. And sadly, by this time, when David was king, Jonathan was dead and Samuel was dead. And so those guys were gone. And he did have Nathan the prophet, but we don't know how close he was to Nathan. And he definitely didn't have Jonathan. And so I suppose in this point in David's life, he didn't have that close friend. And I believe one of the real keys to keeping sin out of our lives and overcoming sin, if it is in our lives, is having a close friend you can trust. Someone you can go to and say, man, I'm struggling. Even for some pastors, the problem with some pastors is their relationships are professional. Pastors sit around talking about their numbers, their church growth, what's working, how many souls are getting saved, what God's doing through their life. And, they tend to exchange information like that. And that's all good if you're a pastor listening to this or watching this, but it's got to go deeper than that. It's got to be like, hey, how you doing? How you feeling lately? Are you struggling with anything? Is everything okay in your world? Some pastors don't have that sort of relationship where they can actually be honest. They're so busy projecting image and projecting success and talking about all the wonderful things God's doing, which is great, that they don't have people in their world where they can say, man, every time I go to the cafe, there's a girl working there, man, and she sort of flirts with me a bit, and I kind of get a little bit attracted to her, and I don't want to. How many of us have those relationships when that stuff happens that we can actually confess it to someone and just open up? Because it's amazing. It's amazing how when you tell someone, when you're struggling with sin, how you're being tempted, it's amazing how it can break. Just that accountability. And I remember years ago when I was just, newly married and I was working in a certain place and there was a girl there who seemed to be flirting with me and sort of, you know what it's like. They just kind of give you this vibe, and she was very attractive and I was struggling internally with it. And I went and told a Christian brother about it and he just said, mate, how stupid's that? And the moment he said that, it broke and I was free and I just moved on. And I want to encourage you today, make sure you've got friends in your life you can open up to and be honest with so that when sin comes knocking at the door, you can kick it out.